What do you think? Am I wearing enough green for this video? Tiny Frank, get your shit together, man. We're doing a movie about frogs. Welcome back to the Mad Tea Party. My name is Rabbit, and I'm a brown hairy dwarf porcupine. Guests, today I have a real treat for you, because we're going to be talking about a movie from 1972 about frogs. Wait, don't go! You sit down. You sit yourself right down there, Sir Mr. Pencil Sharpener, because this movie is, it's a movie that I watched, and I want to talk to you about it. So here we go. This movie stars a young Sam Elliott. I bet most of you are used to seeing him like this. He kind of looks like an old cowboy who's got a permanent whiskey in his hand and a lot of slow wisdom he wants to speak into your ear holes. In this movie, he's a young whippersnapper with 70s wavy hair who likes to take pictures on the swamp of trash, pollution, frog. Now I wonder if all that pollution is going to have anything to do with the plot of the movie. Meanwhile, somewhere way more fun. Ah, jeez, Sam, I think you better look up. That boat's coming right your way. Sam? Nerd.
My name is Clint Crockett, if you want to know.
Unless you're handing me a whiskey bourbon, I couldn't give two coyotes on a plate of molasses what your names are. Cowboys say that, right? Turns out these two are actually some rich kids who live on, like, a country club and are being spied on as we speak by this guy. They invite Sam to lunch and apologize for that little boat incident and then, look out! It's a frog! Never mind. I guess they're safe. For now.
It's dead.
Well, it's probably just the holiday. It'll come back on soon.
Phone's dead, huh? That's kooky. Moving on. By the way, Sam's name in this movie is Pickett Smith. Now, if that isn't the most Sam Elliott name I've ever heard.
Not quite awake yet, Mr. Pickett, but I can hardly wait to see what you look like.
Oh, what does that mean?
Me, myself, I just never had the energy to run after anything.
Boy, I'm so tired I can hardly look up at another human being who's standing right in front of me. Oh, it's so difficult being rich.
Hey, everybody, look! Look what I found! Look what I found! He's gigantic!
Don't be so stupid, Jay.
Oh my god, you can't just toss around a frog like that. Why, they just might come back and murder the lot of ya. So the family has a bit of a frog infestation problem. They're hopping around, making noise all the time. Just a real nuisance. Before Pickett leaves, Grandpa Crockett here tells him he sent a guy out to spray where the frogs were really bad and hasn't come back yet. After a bit of investigation, Pickett finds the guy face down in a swamp taking a nap, which is the number one way to drown, I think. Back at the plantation-looking house, there's some dancing going on. Is this what rich people do in places like this? The scene reminds me of the granddad story in the Creepshow movie. Boy, this trilogy really went downhill, didn't it? Did anybody ever even see Creepshow 3? Maybe I'll talk about that one day. What were we doing? Oh yeah, frogs. So if you haven't deduced the plot yet, this rich asshat is killing a lot of animals around his home, and they're not going to stand for it anymore. Like this garter snake that got into the house. Aw, look at him. He's so cute. Grandpa Crockett wants to take care of it, though, by pulling out a pistol and shooting at it. Well, you can't laugh at the results.
Well, what's everybody standing around for? Let's eat.
Mind the snake juice there, it's just all over the table now. So as much as I love watching this documentary about privileged rich people, when are these hundreds of frogs we've seen going to do anything? We don't even see them around the people, they're always B-roll shots of them hopping around in the middle of nowhere. Oh, by the way, Pickett told Grandpa about the dead body he found, and he doesn't give two shits about it. Pickett goes wandering off, and we see a random assortment of snakes. It's almost like they don't all naturally live in this one swamp. Poke it. Poke that rattlesnake. Poke it with a stick. Do it. See what it does. He passes a lizard, a Gila monster, there's like a frog, probably in a different state somewhere. Meanwhile, this guy's out in the middle of the forest shooting at a stock footage of birds. when something spooks the boy and he trips and shoots himself in the leg. So far, the people in this movie are actually more dangerous to themselves than the frogs. But we close the shot on a bunch of spiders falling onto and crawling up onto the guy, because getting shot in the shin prevents one from trying to get up or do anything but lay in a prone position. Frogs. Do you think perhaps it's a little bit difficult to make frogs a terrifying creature? These spiders are insane, by the way. They cocoon him up in a bunch of Easter grass decoration. Either that or the ground is eating him. It's never really explained.
Have you seen Kenneth?
No.
What's the matter? Is that still not working?
Mm-hmm.
The frogs cut the line. So Kenneth wanders out into the greenhouse, which is just infested with large lizards that he doesn't even seem to notice, and Iris over here goes after a butterfly she saw. Because, well, what else are you expected to do out here when there ain't no Xbox? They just have a jar labeled poison on the shelf. Turns out this lizard is really a scientist who knew just the combination of glasses to knock off the shelf in order to make poisonous gas. Works beautifully because this chucklefuck wanders right into the smoke to check it out. Really gotta get a good look at what the heck is going on down here. Great job, guys. You really earned that one. So Pickett and company move over to pick up the recently deceased body.
How do you figure? I don't know, Charles.
I don't know, Charles. It's almost like he could have just left the area, but instead he dove face first into a cloud of poisonous smoke. Let's not forget that Iris is still out here trying to capture butterflies and make them work for her, probably as her slaves. Are these people brain dead? Have they all been out into the sun a little bit too long? Now I know what you're thinking. Man, this film could really use a lot of pointless shots of Iris wandering around looking lost, while we get a lot of stock footage of various wildlife just minding their own business. What are you, a successful filmmaker? That's exactly what they did. This woman is running for her life, and all the wildlife around her is doing is wondering what she's doing out here. Are we totally sure this isn't a comedy? Did they pull one over on me and now suddenly I'm reviewing a comedy? Come on, guys, we gotta get out of this movie. So after a good 10 minutes of this scene, Iris sees the dreaded rattlesnake, and just like every other brain-dead meat popsicle in this movie, she moves towards it, gets down on the ground with it, like she wants to go cuddle with it, and gets bitten and dies. This movie's not about vengeful animals, it's about common sense. I'm kind of surprised all these people didn't die decades ago from wandering into traffic. Case in point, this fellow who went looking for Iris runs into some alligators. Or crocodiles? I'm not sure, internet, give me a break. He ends up in the water wrestling around with it on accident in no time. So back at the house, the few living residents are trying to convince Mr. Crockett that maybe they should get the hell out of there because no one is smart enough to handle the wildlife that's just minding its own business outside. But he won't have it. This banging celebration is more important than keeping the family alive, don't you get it?
Just because of one death, an accident, there's no reason for everybody to panic.
Oh no, I guess you're right. What's 1, 2, 3 deaths, huh? When the party is this insane, people are bound to be killed.
Do you think that's happening everywhere, Mr. Smith?
Hey, you wanna step back from the prop? We're getting some noise from you nuzzling it.
Yes, sir?
So we're at the final showdown of the movie. Everybody who's not a main character bails on Grandpa Crockett because he's batshit insane, and they get pushed out of town by a scene from The Birds. Clint finds himself stranded across the lake, and he tries to swim for it, and... He survives that brutal attack and swims to the boat where... His lady friend is so distraught about what she just witnessed that she voluntarily walks into the water where she gets stuck on something and dies of being in this movie, probably. Now, we have to remind you this movie is called Frogs every now and then. You remember now? Good.
The frogs are thinking now. The snails are planning strategy. Their brains are as good as ours. Is that your point?
No, not at all. Everybody in this movie is dying from their own stupidity or nothing at all. So the kids... Oh yeah, there are 2 kids in this movie, but I don't mention them because they don't do anything in general. Try to convince Grandpa Crockett that they should probably get out of there, but he won't have it.
I thought you at least were different. Thought you had the Crockett strength, the guts.
The Crockett strength is to die at the hands of harmless wildlife that just looked at you wrong. That's what America was built off of. The last of the house leaves Grandpa to the fate of the frogs, the demon creatures who've been murdering my eardrums the whole movie. Other than that, they're quite pleasant. But the leaving party hits a snag when the boat stops in the water and Pickett has to get out to inspect it. Action, Snake! Pickett, what are you slapping at? Those snakes are 0% disturbed by you. Stop messing around. They get to the docks and run out to the safety of the road where they're picked up and driven away.
Did your car break down?
No, it's a long story.
Too long, if you ask me. What are you looking at? You're not even invested in this movie review anymore.
They were all over the place at camp. Ever seen a monster big as him before?
Put that thing away. Have you seen the mayhem they've caused this whole movie? Speaking of which, it's their time to shine in this movie titled Frogs. As they break into Mr. Crockett's house, I'm guessing with crowbars, and close in on him.
Hello? 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 It can't be dead. It rang!
The frogs have figured out how to use the phone. Mr. Crockett, more like Mr. Crockett, am I right? Wait, you have the microphone. He falls to the floor and the crew throws all the pet store frogs all over him, killing him with the power of frogs. The end. So the movie has this, be nice to the environment or else kind of message to it. Mr. Crockett being the dickhead who did some toxic dumping, some chemical releasing. I don't really know. But most people died in this movie due to stupidity or confusion. It makes people look really bad, is what I'm saying. Was this movie made by a bunch of frogs? Is Sam Elliott in cahoots with the frogs? Fun facts. Many of the 500 Florida frogs and 100 giant South American toads released for use in the film escaped during production. In Andy Warhol's interview, Fran Lebowitz called Frogs the best bad movie I've ever seen in my life. The Florida Holiday Inn used by the production crew would not allow the deadly snakes, poisonous spiders, and black scorpions in the hotel. Oh geez, I wonder why not. Well, that was fun. Thanks for joining me on this amphibious journey to break up the sadness of the true horror that I bring to my channel. I hope you guys are having fun with me. I noticed that my true videos like to create a lot of conversation in the comments section, and I love watching it and joining you guys in on it. So, I'm gonna keep doing that. Join me next time when I become a frog and cause no problems for anybody. See ya.